everyone, my name is Sammy, and you're just gonna have to make your peace with that. When I was a kid, I was super into magic, and I loved movies about magic, as I'm sure you could probably guess based on, I don't know, children liking magic. And I mean all types of magic, like witchcraft, mythology, and today's topic specifically, magicians. Yes, that's right. Today we're gonna be watching another So Bad It's Good movie from your childhood if you grew up around the same time I did, or from your young adulthood if you're a little bit older than me, don't forget to take your back medication, or from your infancy if you're younger than me. And if that's the case, please never ever comment about my humor because I'm older than you, so simply put, that just means I have a more refined sense of what's comedic in the world. Sorry about that. The movie I want to rip into today is none other than the DCOM Disney Channel original movie. Made in 2005, Now You See It. Not to be confused with the 2013 movie Now You See Me that grossed around $350 million at the box office. This one was released on Disney Channel. Now, I don't know if you remember this movie well enough or at all, but it freaked the shit out of me as a kid. Oddly enough, I loved every single minute of it. It's about a high school magician who enters a contest and makes it to the finals and has a friend who will stop at nothing to help him, and other stuff happens, and you're just gonna have to come along on this journey with me, okay? Trust me. Let's get into it, mama. The movie begins as all DCOMs do, and we get transported back to a time where you just got home from school after you found out hot lunch was hot dogs, and you come home to see that mom is making pork chops for dinner, so needless to say, you're not having the best of days. But you rip off your backpack and flip on the TV, only to see the stark white serif font against a black background, and you know you're in for a treat despite what title's gonna roll across the screen in a few seconds, because at this point, all DCOMs are good. Now this particular DCOM opens with one half of the iconic duo Allie and AJ, and she's speaking a monologue about this kid magician Danny that she knows, and she also throws in that she's a champion puzzle solver. Girl, what? Puzzles of, like, jigsaw puzzles? What are you talking about? Normally I would need to see some statistics for a silly little fact thrown out there like that, but I'm gonna let it slide for two reasons. One, I'm probably gonna have more issues with bigger things later on in the movie because we're literally not even 1 minute into it yet. And two, I used to practice kissing on my Allie and AJ poster hung above my bed because Allie just had really shiny lip gloss. At least that's what I told myself.
Oh, and also, what I'm about to show you was never ever meant to be seen.
I mean, come on, with an opening like that, how are you not absolutely hooked into this movie? I really like the early 2000s trippy webcam filming on the monitor as the filming camera tracks and dollies in on Allie. And I'm also a sucker for exposed brick, so I just really like the way her room is set up. But with a great, albeit probably unnecessary hook, because if you think about it, the movie probably could have just started right here and it would have had the same outcome. But the filmmakers just wanted to instill within you this air of mystery, and boy, let me tell you, it worked. It got me in hook, line, and sinker, baby. Let's get into the main storyline. So Allison is a segment producer for this new reality show where everything gets filmed in like a Big Brother-esque kind of way. But I assume that's where the similarities end, because I've never seen Big Brother. The only thing I know about that show is Tiffany Pollard and Gemma Collins.
Pretty much, I will let Gemma know that she is a fat cunt, and the shoes that she gave me were not something that I would particularly buy for myself. They were old maiden type of shoes.
But the gag for this reality show is it's entirely produced by children. And you know what? I kind of find that hard to believe, but what do I know about Hollywood? I'm new here! It also revolves around the kid producers trying to find the best kid magicians.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you. Before we proceed, what is the single most
Hey, Allison, I'm gonna need you to calm down, baby girl. Mr. Man with the frosted tips behind you is judging you hardcore. But here's where Allison drops a great piece of advice and like the whole central force for why we see everything that we do, and that is always keep the camera rolling.
Excellent. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Actually, you did. I remembered it from a quote you gave in an interview with TV Weekly, October of 2002.
Well, it's nice to know one of you came prepared.
I mean, go off, queen. I love to see a competent, passionate, and empowered young woman in the TV industry. Gold star. Here we get to meet the host of the Kids Magician reality TV show, and his name is Mystic Max. And he gives an interesting piece of plot info, and that is only a select few number of magicians could even apply because there was a secret note hidden in the poster somewhere, and only those true of hard enough could solve it. I don't know. They don't really explain it that well. Are magicians particularly known for being good at hidden object or logic puzzles? Why was this the determinant for the rest of the movie? I mean, at least it relates back to magic by having the last name of one of the famous magicians in this universe be the web address to the application process.
See, the spider web made me realize it was probably there to direct us to a website. Then, in looking closer at the book the statue was holding, I saw that it was a farewell to arms. And then, bam, it hit me. I mean, everybody knows that the Venus de Milo is a statue with no arms.
Sure.
And that made me think of the famous founder.
But what in the World Wide Web gobbledygook nonsense does this all mean? Are you serious? The spider web made you think to go to the internet? Okay, sure, whatever. 2005 was a different time. I remember watching this as a kid though and thinking this bitch was an absolute genius. A god among men, if you will. Okay, and Queen Allison is straight up wearing so many different colors and accessories. I am so into this eclectic nonsense. Old Disney Channel really put some thought and effort into the costuming and wardrobe. I'm not saying new Disney Channel doesn't, don't crucify me. The last movie I just remember watching on Disney Channel and enjoying was probably Lemonade Mouth.
I know I can seem like a bit of a know-it-all, but I really don't mean to. It's not my fault people ask me questions and I have answers.
No need to apologize, Allison. In a few years, you're gonna be able to use that skill to embarrass many a drunken man at your college bar on any given night.
Okay, sorry. What got me off on that rant? I have no idea.
But yes, you're right. Let's get back into the story. We're about to meet Danny, our other main character. The kid magician Allison starts to film for her show. And she goes on to explain how this show run entirely by children is legal to produce. Each of the groups has a kid producer, a kid camera op, and an adult mentor, just to make sure everything's going smoothly and everyone's safe.
Our team was me, our camera guy, Cedric.
Peace.
Big fan of Cedric's introduction. Love him. But before we meet Danny, we have to go into a montage of Allison's team trying to find a talented kid magician to no avail. Of course, we have to see all these kids be absolute dog shit at magic, like not a single trick lands. I know that's the whole joke of it all, but it doesn't fit in my brain that every kid was bad at magic that auditioned. This is why the contest entry form shouldn't have been a hidden message. It should have been the kids sending in a video of them having to saw someone in half. Turn this into a horror movie with some blood and guts, please. Okay, but for real, I find it actually really hard to believe that not a single kid before Danny had an ounce of talent with relating to magic, because like magic's a pretty popular hobby among kids, so what's going on there? Okay, come on with that close-up pressing the buttons on the keys. I love the enthusiasm, almost as much as I love Allison's hat and bag combo. So the team walks up the stairs to Danny's room where he's blowing a big ass balloon, and he gets shocked when Allison taps him on the shoulder like, my guy, you knew they were there. You literally saw them lock their car. But when Danny's trying his trick, it's just not happening. Which, if this trick isn't working, might I suggest trying another trick? Like, if all it takes is one trick to get chosen, then like fall back on old Reliable, pull a coin out from Miss Allison's ear or something, do something. And he does! Right as the trunk opens, Allison gets a face full of bad CGI'd pigeons, and luckily Cedric is rolling, so they've got their magician. I will say this shot always scared me as a kid. The way he scurried away from the window and the foreboding music, just not a pleasant sight for my young eyes, I suppose. After they take their footage back to show everyone their new little competitor, Frosty Tips Boy gets a little gel and accuses Allison of rigging the contest with Danny from the start, and it's like, from what start are you talking about? This is the first you're seeing of Danny and Allison. Huh? I mean, I definitely think they should believe all of the kids at this point, because couldn't they say that for like all of the other kids who auditioned? But also, yeah, why not just ask the adult that was with them? He's got no stake in the grass. And you know what? The more and more we go on with this movie, these sidebars with Allison are starting to drive me up a wall. I get the picture, my love. Now let's stop with the narrated bits, please. I know Allison said that thing earlier about not being into lip gloss, but Miss Thing is serving up, down, left, right, and center with the early 2000s classic combo of poncho and hair poof. Girl, you just saw Dove's materialize out of nowhere, and that's the face you make for a card trick? Hate this kid already. Danny saw that wimpy ass trick and he said, "Oh, that's sweet. No, it's really cute, I promise." And whips out this crazy ass card maneuver wearing an outfit that I would most certainly pin on my Pinterest board. Literally, I don't give a single shit about what happens in the rest of the movie until I learn more about that girl with the guitar bag and the scrunchy poof. What's her story?
It's a real honor to meet you. I'm Zoe, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
The honor is mine, Zoe.
Of course her name is Zoe. She is such a Zoe. She gives off Sesame Street vibes in the best way. And Brandon, you are not making yourself any better, my man. This set is cool as shit, though. I don't know what swirly twirly stuff I'm seeing in the background, but I do like what I'm seeing.
I've been looking forward to meeting you, Danny.
Don't worry, Danny. I don't think you have anything to worry about. That shouldn't change anytime soon. After everyone gets settled in a bit, Mystic Max encourages everyone to explore the Magic Mansion. And of course, Brandon is here with Frosty Boy. And it looks like Cedric is the only kid camera op now. He's the only one I see struggling with more than 20 pounds of camera equipment, has already slender 87 frame. Someone help that little boy, please! Before Max retires for the night, he tells the kids to check their pockets for their room keys, and when Danny checks his, he doesn't find it. And Max makes a point to specifically conjure Danny's up out of nowhere, just to weird Danny out a little bit. Here's a little helpful tip, Max. Don't hand deliver this boy his room key and no one else's. That's a little creepy. While they're walking to the rooms, Allison's telling Danny how they need to be completely open and honest with each other because they're a team. And Allison is trying to stay professional, but baby girl, I feel like this could probably wait until the morning. I'm not gonna lie, Danny looking into the camera literally almost made me scream because this whole time I was under the assumption that we were watching a third camera op film. Come to find out that it's little old Cedric. But I feel like that doesn't really make sense though. Like these are over the shoulder shots because it's a conversation. Only to find out that one of those cameras is in universe? What? But Danny's not the loud bubbly type like Allison, so he makes a deal with her that he'll do everything in his power to win this competition for them if she stays out of his way, which to be honest sounds like a nightmare to a person like Allison. The next day they find their challenge is the ability to think in unusual ways. God, do you see what I mean about Brandon? He sucks. Sorry, I know he's a kid, but damn, he sucks. But they need to find out they have to make an illusion out of 1 to 5 items in 30 minutes.
Cedric and I are your friends. Right, Cedric? Cedric! Attention, please. Yeah, thanks.
Huh?
This made me slap my knee and LOL. Cedric, you are so silly. So, yeah, I guess this is the intro to the reality show. Real captivating. It makes me want to tune in week after week. Love this girl boss moment as Allie and AJ plays as Zoe slays her trick, although her trick is lame-o, boring. That's the best you can do being one of the top 3 kid magicians in the country? And she got a 7? Damn, if only I honed my craft a little bit, I could school all these bitches.
Right. You don't stand a snowball's chance and you know where pulling that off.
Oh yeah? Watch and be amazed.
I wasn't gonna include this kid's line about a snowball's chance and you know where, but it actually turned out to be integral to the whole trick that Danny does with snow filling the bottom of the fish tank. Although snow wasn't one of the 5 ingredients that Danny could have used, and Allison tries to smooth it over saying that that was the most amazing trick that she's ever seen, which like, yeah, as a kid that blew my mind. I was stunned. But rules are rules, babe. He used 6. He could only use 5. With Brandon being up next, he uses Danny as an assistant and he has him hold up a sheet in front of him. But before Brandon can get done counting down though, he disappears, alluding to Danny being an actual magician or sorcerer because he literally made a kid vanish. And you know what I say? Good riddance, bye. But then Brandon screams and reappears on the spinning wheel. With Brandon reappearing though, Max ends up giving him a 10, although he looks at Danny knowingly, cluing us in that he knows more than you'd think. So Danny storms off and Allison chases him, asking what the hell happened, and Danny's all frazzled, like this boy needs therapy, actual therapy. Now with all the other kids asleep, Allison and Cedric sneak onto the stage to try to see how the trick was done, and they find Brandon and the other kid, the frosty hair boy kid, also on stage trying to find out the same thing. And as the scene fades to black, the camera pans up to the adult chaperone of the kids, just like looking over them, okay? That literally never comes back up ever again. So, whatever. The next day, they find out that the second challenge relates to each of the kid magicians getting a wand with a famous magician's name on it, and of course, Danny gets Harry Houdini, because he's special. But you know what? If I was one of these other kid magicians, I feel like I would have picked up on this favoritism and I would have called it out. This is bullshit. But yeah, so they're supposed to research their magician and perform their most notable trick, which I feel like could spell imminent danger for this 16-year-old child. Allison is looking around trying to find Danny and stumbles across him in the library where he should be studying for his trick, but wants to find the secret hidden passageways in the Magic Mansion. What? Huh? Okay. Like, I would want to do the same thing, but maybe after the competition. Or like after this challenge that you need to do. I feel like you only have like 30 minutes to get it done, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you told Allison that you would do whatever it takes to win, and this doesn't seem like winning mentality, babe. What gets me even more though is that Allison goes along with it. Babes, you gotta make sure he's got his trick down. Why are you encouraging this behavior?
See how some of these books have markings on their bindings and others don't? We need to find all those that have this symbol.
How on earth did she come up with the solution to looking at the bindings of the books? That was an absolute stretch, to say the least.
What now?
See this on the binding? I'm betting these are your puzzle pieces, pal. Now it's up to us to solve it.
Allison, you're brilliant.
Thanks for noticing.
Queen shit. I knew what I was doing with that poster. She's a smarty pants. And this little friendship, flirtationship between these two is actually building nicely and naturally, I think. I think it's moving at a normal pace. It's not like instantly, it doesn't come out of nowhere. So that's much appreciated. But they figure out the books with the symbols on the bindings all line up to show two serpents. And Danny remembers seeing this symbol somewhere. So they grab Cedric and go explore.
Guys, I don't think this is such a good idea.
Why, Cedric? Max literally said to explore the mansion, and you're doing just that. I remember thinking those kids were fearless, though. I would have literally rather walked through molten lava rocks than gone down and rummaged around. Now, I'm so chill and brave that I could literally do that with no tears and not having to call my mom every 8 seconds. So, yeah, I'm pretty cool and chill and brave and awesome. But the kids find the serpent symbol on a dead end and think it's a misdirection, but Miss Smarty Pants Allison deciphers the code at the bottom, or I guess not deciphers, she translates it. And they find a hidden passageway flooded with candlelight. So someone was most definitely recently down there, so I'm with you, Cedric, let's get out of here. The hidden room that they do find, though, ends up being the owner of the mansion's hidden secret library. Although it kind of looks more like a residence hall in a college campus, more than a sorcerer's secret lair. While looking around, Cedric turns a knob and this nonsense happens. Oh, a little short version of the TV intro. Wow. Zoe's queen shit, though. She's staying consistent with her scores and she's charismatic. I'm team Zoe. Okay, that's some grade A bullshit. How was that an A to Girly Pop? I literally saw the string where the light bulb was dangling on. Come on now. This is rigged. Now for Max's turn, instead of doing a literal death trap of a stunt, he decides to do his other famous trick, which is making an elephant disappear. His elephant is Brandon, and for some reason, before he could make him disappear, a mechanical bull appears. Yeah, sure, okay. I used to think this was so dramatic and scary as a kid, but now I would just like some answers, like, why is this the direction that we decided to go in?
Real.
Yeah, you know, like, what if he actually has magical powers?
Well, if that's the case, wouldn't he be the ultimate winner then? Why would him being the real deal affect the outcome of the show? If they're trying to find the best kid magician in the country, wouldn't he be just that? Like, that's cool. He should win. He can do real magic. That's sick.
Come on, just tell us all how you did it, okay? We really want to know.
Okay.
Brandon, you whiny little baby. But since Max is a professional, legit magician, he actually is rather skeptical of this whole situation and people who say they have real powers in general. Because people who say they have real powers often just devalue the work and precise entertainment of actual magicians. So he wants to put Danny to the test to see what's actually happening. Side note, I always thought this guy was British. I think it's just his aura.
Call it my own ESP or whatever, but after checking every place I could think of, I finally found him. What are you doing in here?
Oh, you finally found him with your ESP in this secret room that he seemed really interested in discovering the other day. Girl, that would be the first place I would check for him. Now at this point, Allison is still under the impression that Danny has full control of what he's doing. So Danny comes clean to her and telling him that he could make things appear and disappear randomly as a kid, and he's constantly tormented from this. But it kind of seems pretty self-explanatory. If you want something, it'll appear, and if you want something gone, it'll disappear. Right? How much more clearer would you like it, Danny?
Ever since that first incident, I've been driving myself crazy trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I can't control my magic, Allison. I don't know how or when things are gonna happen. They just do.
This kid is serving up his acting chops. He is doing the most.
Or my powers will get out of control and they'll recognize this great gift of mine and I'll end up on some government operating table being poked and probed like an alien lab rat.
I don't think that's gonna happen, Dan the man. Let's reel it in. Allison tells him that she wants to be the person that really believes in him, and she thinks that this panel of experts that Max put together will help.
An aunt, possibly?
Not that I know of.
Maybe a long-lost second cousin, twice removed on your father's side? Look, I'm sure we could go on with this all day.
Okay, you motherfucker, this was your idea. Why are you being a dick to a kid? Right, okay, come on, Chuck E. Cheese clock ride. Now Max decides to be even more of a dick and make fun of Danny in front of everyone.
I've never seen this chair before.
Oh, I see. I guess it walked up here all by itself, didn't it?
How would Danny have brought this chair up in front of everyone? It was literally there when he got there. So Danny storms off with Allison right behind, and she's going off at him, saying that he lied to her and all this stuff, but Danny's saying that he thinks that Max rigged the chair or something, and Allison thinks that's Ludi, so she stomps off. I love all the character development between these two. For a DCOM, I think it's actually pretty compelling. I think it's a really interesting concept to have Allison struggle to relate to her peers because of her intellect, and have Danny struggle to relate because of his internal demons. God, I love these characters. This is incredible. Like, yes, Allison is incredibly smart, but she's also a teenage girl who's immature because she's a kid. But Cedric reminds her about the dove stunt that Danny pulls off at the beginning, and Allison scrubs through the tapes to try to see what kind of trickery and nonsense is going on, but they only find out it's real magic. Those doves appeared out of thin air.
Now you see it, now you don't.
And Cedric has the pleasure of name-dropping the movie. Good for you, kid. But this means Allison is fully on board with him being the real deal, so she goes on a hunt to find him. Defo need that big-ass birdcage. Get a load of that transition, folks! While Allison is trying to find Danny, she comes across another secret room through a vent, and she overhears Max and Danny talking. Now this is where Max comes clean to Danny and say that he knows that he's the real deal, and that's why he created this whole competition to find someone like Danny and really hone his craft. You know, not for anything evil or nefarious. No. Right, yeah, I hate this, and it goes on for about 2 minutes. After this stupid little fight, Max gifts Danny with this huge-ass ring to help keep his powers under control, and looking at this ring really makes me realize why I'm a silver jewelry girly. It's just so whimsical and magical. As Allison turns to leave, though, as Max sends Danny away, the mentor Paul or something comes in, and Max admits that Danny actually isn't able to remove the ring himself, and by this time tomorrow, all of Danny's powers will be transferred to Max, and that's actually what Max did with his old mentor, DeMilo, who's like the owner of the mansion. So, being a girl boss, Allison runs to Danny's door to try to tell him what's going on, but Paul catches her and sends her off to bed. Dun dun dun! But now Danny's all smiley and happy because he thinks he's found his purpose, and Max is gonna help him hone his craft. And we know as well as Allison that quite literally couldn't be further from the truth, so she comes clean and tells him what she heard. Danny's like, that doesn't make any sense, and I'm like, why not? You just found all this stuff out like 12 hours ago, how could it not be possible that Max is lying to you? Why would Allison just randomly make all that up? And like, yeah, girl, you have the tape, just show him. So as she tells the overall producer of the reality show about Max and Danny, Max pops up out of nowhere and says, oh sweetie, you really don't want to start with me. You will not win. And takes her camera himself, and like, sorry, no, I would literally not let that camera out of my hands if my life depended on it. Max is gonna pull some trickery, and of course, he does, so the tape is all messed up. Now this motherfucker is gaslighting the fuck out of her. I've always hated this slimy guy. Ew. But with this outburst, Max suggests that Allison leaves, and the producer agrees, and Allison Mashaka is so close to squeezing out the tear. Guys, just give her one more second.
Besides, you have no idea how happy I've been lately.
How happy you've been this whole morning? Danny, you literally just got that ring last night.
Wow, look at this. Your last great trick. Managing to make your only ally disappear, huh?
Eat him up, Allison. I also love the use of trolleys for transport. Very fun and cute and fresh. Now she's thinking there's another piece to this puzzle, so she starts researching DeMilo, Max's old mentor, and found out that he died when a trick he'd done 1,000 times had failed, and in his casket he was wearing the same ring that Max gave Danny. Dun dun dun! I've already done that, but I'm gonna keep it in because it's dramatic. And can I just say that they are really alluding heavy-handedly that this 65-year-old man is gonna murder this 16-year-old boy in cold blood.
I had to tell him everything I suspected, everything I'd found. I wasn't sure exactly what he was up to, but if Max was now planning to rob Danny of his powers, or perhaps something even worse, he'd have the perfect opportunity during the finale that night.
Come through with this middle school acting, girl. I love it. So as the finale is about to start, Danny starts to panic to Max about the ring, thinking that he should probably take it off for the final competition because he doesn't want it to mess with his own magic, but Max, of course, assures him that he needs to keep it on, and he makes sure everything's gonna run smoothly. But Danny, you should probably wear a helmet. Sneaky Allison decides to get back into the mansion by getting delivered in like a magician's box or cabinet thing to Max, or not to Max, to Danny. Because remember, Danny can't take the ring off himself, so she's gotta be the one to slip it off, because no one else knows. Now we get to watch this Victorian ghost looking dweeb do his Mary Poppins skit up on stage, whatever. That Hunter Frosted Tips kid catches Allison though, and before he can turn her in, she loses him through the mirror maze. And now we're back to this Lizzie McGuire ass bitch with her musical backings. Get into it, I love her. Allison finally gets to Danny and warns him about the murder plot, and Danny still doesn't believe her. But then she brings up the fact that Max says Danny can't remove the ring himself, so just give it a go and see what happens. And he doesn't because he knows how he's gonna feel. Like, okay, good for you, but that's not why she asked you to take the ring off. So he doesn't, of course, but he goes on stage and we find out that the trick that he's doing is the trick that DeMilo died from, so we know that blood is gonna be sprayed and brains flattened if not for Allison.
Oh, wait, hold on.
This booing at a child? Jesus Christ. Right, yeah, so the weight falls and Danny dodges and tries to get the ring off, but like too little too late, buddy boy. But now Max gets to be a dick again, but Danny is all too aware of what's going on right now. And I have to point this out, Danny's got some sick as fuck shoes on. I need them. Now Cedric rolls out one of these boxes that you stick swords into, and of course Allison's inside. And Max just starts sticking and poking, but Allison's okay, she's not shish kebabbed, and slides that ring right off Danny's finger. Max then proceeds to shoot Danny up into the air and spins him around a bunch, and then Allison reminds him that the ring is the way to like defeat Max or whatever. He has to use it against Max, which I mean, it makes sense, but I don't think that was ever explicitly stated or shown that that's the final piece of the puzzle. But like, whatever, I'm just gonna let this play out and have you guys watch it, okay?
Now it's my move, Max!
Glorious. So at the end we find out that this was a narrative format because Allison cut together all these clips from the only tapes that remain. Like, sure, okay, whatever. I guess at this point, I'm done with it, okay? And we find out Danny's in hiding because Max is still out there, but like, where'd he go? Same with Paul. I'd like some closure on Paul's story. Why was he Max's confidant? Again, another insane transition to the final shot of the movie of these two biffles. Well, that was it, folks. Another great, I guess, movie from my childhood that scared the shit out of me for no reason. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and have a great goodle poodle day. And one more thing, kissies! That was so dumb.